5 months. I spent 5 months in India. Can you believe it? Who in their right mind would stay in a country like India for such a long time? Well, I did, and I took my wife with me. We spent 5 months exploring the country, eating the food, and, well, experiencing the good, the bad, and the dirty. I just talk about it. And I'm gonna be honest with you, India is a fascinating country. It's historically rich, culturally overwhelming, and food alone is worth a conversation. But it's also one of the most challenging and hard and tough countries to stay that I've ever been in my life. We've only been to the north part of India. We came from Calcutta in January this year, in 2026, and then we went all the way to the west to Rajasthan, and we ended up in Pushkar. So the first topic I want to talk about India is about the safety. But mind you, it's not a safety about crime or something related to it. It's safety for women. Hey, wait, do I look like a woman? No. And that's why I felt really very safe in India. But I am a married guy and I struggled a lot. Even when I was close to my wife, we had a lot of incidents and most of them were really sometimes, bad. For example, I felt, because I was thinking, imagine, for example, okay, my wife, she's with me. She's a married woman and we are always walking together. So imagine if there is like a young woman that she has no experience in traveling and then she's just dropped in India and she has to get around. This would be a nightmare fuel. Because let me tell you some examples. Like even when we were together, like a lot of men, they used to stare at us. I mean, they used just to stare at my wife or look at it. And it's okay because, like men, yes, men are like this type of people. Men are men everywhere in the world, right? But for example, they literally hit on my wife with me together, and that's really like, don't you have any shame? Like what the hell, man? And we have like a very big incident where I sprained my ankle in India, and I couldn't walk and go buy things together. Yes, buy things for us. I had to let my wife go and do the groceries and some other errands. There was this time that she was ordering food for us, and there is this guy. We were in the village in Pushkar. Yes, so in the village everybody knows us. So that it's not like we are in Delhi or the big city that, like nobody cares and that's it. No, everybody knows us. Everybody said hi, hello, namaste, ram ram, yes. And there is this guy specifically, he sees us every day and he went to my wife and he said, hey, let's go, come here to my house. Yes, come to my house. And my wife, of course, she said, no, thank you. And then she just minded her own business, like she was ordering food. And then the guy asked her Instagram. She was like, he literally forced her to add him on Instagram. But my wife said, no, okay, I will follow you later, right? And then she went to a supermarket to get rid of this motherfucker. And then there he was. He was waiting by the door. She was there, I don't know, because that's why I think like, wow, why is she taking so long to come back? Yes. So she told me everything. So she went to the supermarket. She stayed there maybe for 10, 15 minutes. And then the guys at the supermarket know us. And then they just told him to scram. Because when she left the supermarket again, he approached her again and tried to push her, like to drag her to the home. Fortunately, he didn't try anything else. He didn't grab her or force her to go or anything. And it was kind of it was evening at that time. It was like 6 p.m., 7 p.m. So, I mean, I don't know. And this was a village. That's what I'm saying. I had to control myself a lot in order not to beat the crap out of him. But since we are in a village, we are like outnumbered. We don't have that much money or financial. We don't have connections. And nothing really, severe happens. So, well, it is what it is, I guess, right? There are cases in India that they don't end in a such good way. The most recent one, like lately, it happened in 2024 with a Brazilian woman. Her husband and they left Spain and they decided to travel the world by motorbike. They went through Europe, yes, they crossed to Turkey, and then they went to Iraq, to Syria, and they went all the way through Iran, and then even Afghanistan. And they didn't have any issue at all, especially her as a woman. But the moment they arrived in India, then everything went downhill. They decided to make camp in a province called Jharkhand. The first night, a group of guys, they broke into the camp and then they just ganged them, even her husband. And it was awful. I mean, they have like videos on Instagram, like stories explaining the situation and everything. And the outcome of that, I can only imagine how terrifying it is to be in a situation like this. Second thing that I want to talk about in India, I think it's kind of obvious, right? Because, well, I mean, it's the hygiene. Yes, it's not. There is no sugarcoating here. There, I'm not giving it any pass. India is fucking dirty. India is filthy. India is horrible. India is polluted and dusty. You know, at least the places where we've been in north of India. Oh no, there isn't any city that, oh, okay, this city is like nice, or this city is very wow, this city is clean, or it's different. No, every single city we visited, every village we've been to, it's the same with different levels. Of course, you cannot compare Calcutta or New Delhi with Pushkar or with Bodh Gaya we've been, but it's the same standard. You see litter on the ground, and people just throw away the trash. I mean, on the street, like normally, like they're just walking by. You can see spit on the ground. You can see sewer, cow dung, like poop, dog poop, and everything else, and even worse situation, and even worse things. So how can you survive in a country that actually is made for not surviving, especially if you're a tourist? Start with the food. Let's start when how can you manage eating in India as a whole, and this is about Asia too. If the place has a lot of customers, this place is good to eat. Avoid at all costs places that are empty, or if there is street food, especially around late afternoon. Because if you go to a street food place or a restaurant in the late afternoon, most likely, and especially if it's empty, most likely this food has been there for the whole day. I actually had food poisoning twice in India, and I ate in proper places. I didn't eat street food. I ate street food in India, but not like all the time. But I ate mostly in restaurants because it was very difficult to find a place to cook as well. So I had food poisoning twice. And what I can recommend you, the moment you arrive in India, you go to the pharmacy and buy probiotics. It's very cheap. It's like $7, $10 probiotic. It's Enterogermina, I think the name of the brand. So you can take like these three solutions, like bottles, like small bottles. You take them once a day, like once for 3 days, and then that's it. You're protected, yes, in a healthy gut. And if you go through food poisoning, you have to take the whole box. And they're gonna sell you antibiotics. It's very easy to buy antibiotics in India, so don't worry about it. Don't bring from home. You can find everything in the country. And does it mean you have to stop eating street food? No, it doesn't. But you need to be really careful. You need to be really careful with what you're eating in India, because the risks of getting neurocystic yes, like the tinea larva in your brain, it's incredibly high, because they literally, especially the very dodgy and shady street food that you see on the internet, they use the water from sewer or just like untreated water, and they just don't wash the dishes, and they just reheat and recook and everything in the same pot for the same day. I'm going to talk about the people. So how can we start? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe, we met not the wrong people, but we had a very peculiar experience. And that's what me and my wife, we agree. Not every Indian, but 99%, they don't talk to you as, for example, they just want to know you, or they just being polite and, kind and everything. They just talk to you, but it's like with a second intention, most of the time, they just want to sell you something. It's like always you are in a business transaction with Indians. For example, like many places we've been, like in the cities and the villages, someone is like, "Hey, hello, namaste," and then in the end of the conversation, this happened. So I have a shop here, so if you can come there, I can find you, this, I can find you that, I can get you this and that. I know, I appreciate the hustle. I appreciate people who want to make money, because I also make money online. I'm self-employed and I appreciate the hustle, right? But sometimes you just want to meet people, man. Or sometimes you just want to be polite or kind or have some small talk. I don't want to be offer anything. And when this happens, like every single time, it gets a bit exhausting, because you don't know if so. And it's very funny because most of times we said hi, hello to the shops, yes, to the vendors. They are very nice and very polite in the beginning, but once we stop buying with them, they just turn away, or they just like very serious. They don't give a damn. I noticed that the people that they are not related to tourists or to business, they are way better. For example, they're way more friendly, and they actually genuinely want to know you. And which is okay. So that's the part we talk about this very peculiar feeling. Let's get this over with first. First of all, India is a 1.4 or 1.7 billion people, so the chances of meeting scammers and meeting assholes is immense. And the chances of meeting good people is also big. We met a lot of scammers, but we've also met wonderful people and amazing people and people that were so kind. Then just, it's like, wow, that's a relief, because in the end of the day, you go through hell and then you just meet this person that helps you and makes you feel amazing. Indians are not very smiley. They are hospitable. They can be kind to you, but they're not very smiley. Everyone has this bland, long face like this. It's very unique in India. Of course, maybe living in India makes you feel like this. You have this facial expression, right? So I'm not judging and I'm not blaming anyone. I don't expect everybody to be friendly at me. I don't expect everyone to be smiling at me, especially me. Like, I lived in Russia for 2 years. So if I want to talk about rude people and aggressive people and just angry looking, they're going to kill you, murder you like that, I just find it funny and I just find it very interesting to see this behavior because, I've been for 3 years in Asia, in Southeast Asia, like Thailand, Vietnam, and Malaysia. Like, everybody's like very chill and relaxed and smiley, friendly. And then you go to India and then it's like, oh. But something that bothers me in India is the lack of manners and respect they have for you, or even for themselves for that matter. It's the tiny little details, yes? They don't even look at you, they don't say thank you, they don't say please, they don't say hi, they don't say welcome, they don't say anything. It's just like they have all this dead fish eye expression and they just continue moving on with their lives. If you say no once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 23 times, they don't know, they don't take rejection. They think it's like actually a game, They want to push you. I think they want to make you angry, especially like tuk-tuk drivers and people that deal with tourists. So it gets really annoying when it's like, I don't know, the 50th person that I have to deal with and you have to be like that. I don't like to be angry at people. I don't like to shout at people. But most of times I felt that I had to be really rude and really aggressive, like say like scram out of my way, like this. Because otherwise they would just be in front of me blocking my way, or they're just gonna be like, hey, sorry, what this, what sorry, or why did you want to come over? It's really annoying, So that's one of the bad parts in India. But in general, we didn't have, for example, talking about safety again, India is very safe. What can happen to you mostly is like you're gonna be scammed. But scammed is not okay, of course, but they're gonna just overcharge you. That's the most terrifying thing that can happen in India. And of course, if you're a woman, as I explained, right? But for example, there is no drug trafficking in India, like crimes like the US or Brazil, where I come from, or Latin America in general. There is no gun robbery. There is no kidnapping. There is nothing really dangerous that can threaten your life. And that's good. At least you can walk, for example, in the evening safely at night, and you can open your wallet, you can carry your electronics, I walk with my tablet in the evening most of the time, nobody cares. I always felt pretty safe, jewelry, and so on. So that's a plus about India. And something else that I would like to point out that it was really hard for us was the efficiency and the infrastructure of India. Especially in summer, blackouts are very common. And even shortage of water too. It doesn't matter if you are in a very expensive place. Of course, depends on the place, of course. But even we stayed in expensive places in India, and we stayed in very budget-related places in India, and we've been through blackouts and water shortage. And this was really annoying for us. So 5 months in India. Am I planning to come back? I don't know. We've been through a lot in India. We have good experiences and we like many things in the country, like the culture itself, the cultural part, not the cultural habits of Indians, but the cultural part, the history, of India. And we like Ayurveda, we like the food, we like the products. They are very good quality in India. But I think we got a bit overwhelmed with the country. And maybe we're going to come back, but we're not going to come back to the north anymore. We're going to come back to the south, to the northeast, or to the north, because I want to see a different part of India. Thank you so much for watching this video, and see you in the next one. Happy trails. Bye-bye.